Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is probably going to be pointless. Predicting the 2025 major winners at the end of 2024. If you have any content ideas, make sure to drop them in the comments because I've resorted to this by myself. So yeah, got any suggestions, just drop it in the comments. But I'm going to be trying to predict the winner of the 2025 majors because based off of what previous winners have done in their previous year, if that makes sense. So let's say Duke DeCessa won the 2024 Caulfield Cup. We're going to see what he did in the 2023 spring and see if any horse has followed that path in the 2024 spring that could, see him as a Caulfield Cup threat. It is pointless, isn't it? But let's just move on. There's 6 majors we're going to be taking a look at: the Golden Slipper, the Queen Elizabeth, Caulfield Cup, Everest, Cox Plate, and also the Melbourne Cup. So we're going to start with which one comes first in the calendar, and that's the Golden Slipper. Now, for this one, a lot of the winners of the Golden Slipper in the past 10 years have all started their debuted in that same year they won the Golden Slipper, so it's quite hard to predict, the winner at this time. But last year, Lady of Camelot, who won, she had her debut in the Gimcrack, which is in October, so that race has already been run, the 2024 edition. And back about 10, 11 years ago, Capitalist and Vancouver in back-to-back years were running in the Breeders' Plate on debut off the back of a trial win, and so was Lady of Camelot. So what I've got written on the paper over there is they've both won their trials leading up to their debut race, and in their debut race, they actually started the favourite in the Gimcrack and Breeders' Plate, did Lady of Camelot, Capitalist, and Vancouver. So which horse fits the bill of that? Well, for the Gimcrack, Belle Mercy started favourite. I don't think she won her trial though, so that doesn't really line up. And then for the Breeders' Plate, Tuscany went down as the favourite, but was a trial winner leading up to its Breeders' Plate effort. I'd be willing to follow Tuscany at the price rather than Belle Mercy because Tuscany is trained by Waterhouse Spot. Waterhouse Spot trained Vancouver and Capitalist, so it's Golden Slipper's one not to put a finger on in November because, as I said at the start, there's going to be horses that debut at the start of next year that will have a much better chance based off what previous years have thrown up in the Golden Slipper. Right, let's move on to the Queen Elizabeth next. This one could be a little bit more clearer. Last year, the Queen Elizabeth was won by Pride of Jenny, who in the 2023 spring, it won 2 Group 1s, including one during Cup Week. So which horse does that align with from the 2024 spring? I've got it as Via Sistina. She won 3 Group 1s in a row, in fact, and the Champion Stakes on on Champions Day. It is the Queen Elizabeth favourite at the moment, so that's pretty obvious. I've also got down there just Winx, because Winx won 3 or 4 in a row of these, and I've just gone Via Sistina as well for that one, because Via Sistina beat Winx's track record in the Cox Plate and didn't push on to the Melbourne Cup. They wanted to keep her at the 2,000 metres, which is what they would have done with Winx as well. So, I've got Via Sistina for that one, but there's one more there. Dubai Honour and Adabe have both come over and won the Queen Elizabeth from England. So I tried to find the next Dubai Honour or Adabe. Dubai Honour and Adabe both trained by William Haggis, and they both ran in the Champion Stakes at Ascot in October. So that race has already been run, and the horse I found is a horse called Economics. It ran 6th, I'm pretty sure, in the Champion Stakes, but it started the $2 favourite. The only really difference between Economics and that of Dubai Honour and Adabe is that Economics is a 3-year-old and Dubai Honour and Adabe were seasoned horses. I think they were 5 or 6 from memory. So that's the only difference between Economics and those 2 great horses. Economics currently isn't in the market for the Queen Elizabeth, but if it comes over, follow it. But Via Sistina in the Queen Elizabeth looks the most likely winner right now. All right, let's move on to the Caulfield Cup. Duke de Sessa. It was running in a lot of Group 1s in the 2023 spring before SPing single figures in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes on Champions Day, being decent, then pushing on to the Sandown Classic and also being decent. There's not a horse that I could align with that from this spring, but the one that's sort of borderline is Berkeley Square. It hasn't been running in Group 1s, but it was decent in the Queen Elizabeth. It's got a good rating, and if it pushes onto the Sandown Classic and runs decently there, it could follow the Duke de Sessa path. Without a fight, in the 2023 spring, it ran in the Melbourne Cup, started decent SP, was disappointing, and then went to Anthony and Sam Friedman, Australian trainers, to be trained. Now, this horse, Sea King, aligns with it because it's done the exact same thing. Decent SP in the Melbourne Cup. Had excuses. I forgot to mention in the Melbourne Cup as well. Didn't handle the wet. Sea King, I didn't even see it, but apparently it over raced and it missed the start, so it was out the back. Also, can't really judge it purely off a 6-day backup. So it's now being trained by Matthew Dunn. He's not renowned for, as big of an Anthony and Sam Friedman trainer, but he's got a horse called Cepheus with OTI who ended up being decent. So Sea King is the one I can align with without a fight. Durston in the 2023 spring, it won a benchmark 78. Sorry, in the 2021 spring, won a benchmark 78 over 2,000 metres on that Caulfield Wednesday meeting. Couldn't align with a horse with Durston. Durston was first up on that day when it won that benchmark 78 2,000 race at Caulfield. The winner of that edition this year was Flamin' Romans, but Flamin' Romans isn't winning the Caulfield Cup, is it? And then Very Elegant. It was running in consistent Group 1s before SPing decently in the Cox Plate. Also couldn't find a horse like that. The only one I could sort of half find was Kovalika / Royal Patronage, but that's probably stretching it a bit. Royal Patronage, 2,400 metres, a bit shaky. And what was the other one? Kovalika could actually work out. So maybe Kovalika, but the only one I could really find there was Sea King. So Sea King for the Caulfield Cup. Now the Everest. Bella Nipotina, the 2024 winner. She won the 1,300 metre race. Can't remember the name of the race. The year before she won the Everest. And she also won that edition again this year. So I think we got to follow Bella Nipotina into next year's Everest. She is going to be an 8-year-old, I'm pretty sure. So she might drop off. And then I've got this same setup ×2. So Nature Strip and Classic Legend both started favourite in the Premier Stakes. And this year, Bella Nipotina started favourite, but Giga Kick opened favourite. So I've got them both down. Nature Strip and Classic Legend both opened and started favourites. And Giga Kick was pretty close to Bella Nipotina in the Everest. However, Bella Nipotina was 3 wide, no cover, and still managed to beat him. But Bella Nipotina might be slowing. She doesn't look like slowing down, but she might slow down as an 8-year-old, and Giga Kick might be coming into his prime. So you got to sort of, see what happens there. But Bella Nipotina for me, 2 things match up: that 1,300 win and that Premier Stakes fave. Giga Kick also not too bad of a chance. Now moving on to the Cox Plate. Animo sort of matches the same as Broadsiding. Animo started favourite in the Caulfield Guineas, ran pretty good in the Cox Plate. That's what Broadsiding did. And also, Winx won 4 editions of the race. And I just got next to her Via Sistina. So Broadsiding and Via Sistina at the moment is my 2 tips for the Cox Plate. If I had to pick one, it's got to be Via Sistina, doesn't it? But Broadsiding, who knows? It could improve a lot and give Via Sistina a test. But Broadsiding and Via Sistina right now for me. And now what you've probably been waiting for, the Melbourne Cup. This is probably none of these will land, but let's start with the Knight's Choice 2023. It won 4 in a row in Queensland, including that Sunshine Coast Guineas. And then it started long odds in the Golden Eagle and was disappointing, running close to last. There's a horse that half matches his profile. This horse I'm about to mention ran second in the Sunshine Coast Guineas, started big odds in the Golden Eagle and ran about the same as Knight's Choice. It's a horse called Zadaki. It's currently not in the market for the Melbourne Cup, but how... What's the chances of Lightning striking twice with a Knight's Choice campaign? Not much in my opinion. The next one is that of Without a Fight. It's the exact same as Sea King, as I've already mentioned in the Caulfield Cup. So Sea King is the one that's going to be highlighted for Without a Fight, that sort of similarity. The next one is Very Elegant. $10 SP in the Melbourne Cup after winning multiple Group 1s in its campaign. And the one I've got highlighting with Very Elegant is Kovalika. Now, Kovalika didn't win multiple Group 1s heading into the Melbourne Cup, but its last 200-metre sectional in the Melbourne Cup was similar to what Very Elegance was. And Kovalika is only a 5-year-old, so I reckon will come into its prime next year and could be a decent contender. And lastly, Vow and Declare. The only thing I could say from its 2018 spring is that it won that 1800-metre 3-year-old race on Melbourne Cup Day. Now, this year's winner was Opening Address, but it got Favours Deluxe, did Opening Address, so I wouldn't be following that. So out of all those, probably following Kovalika and Sea King into the Melbourne Cup. Well, everybody, that's going to wrap it up. Recapping, these are my tips for the 6 majors right now as it stands for next year. So the 2025 Golden Slipper, I've got Tuscany, the Queen Elizabeth, Via Sistina, the Caulfield Cup, Sea King, the Everest, Bella Nipotina, the Cox Plate, Via Sistina, and the Melbourne Cup, Kovalika. So that's my tips right now based off past history of winners of these races. So hopefully you found this video interesting. Like I said at the start, I'm running out of content ideas. So if you have any ideas, make sure to drop them in the comments below. Who are your tips for the 6 majors that I just looked at? I'll be interested to know. So also put those in the comments. And until next video, bye for now.